What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Blue River Bow Hunting Podcast, episode 134. Hope everybody's having a good time in the Midwest and everywhere else. It seems like gun seasons are kicking off, and everybody's kind of getting in the swing of things, and get to hunt with your family around the Thanksgiving time frame, which is always a fun thing that I used to do back in the day. But episode 134, Stephen Fisher from Missouri. What's going on, dude?
Oh, not too much, buddy. How are you getting along?
Good, good. Got bucked down. Heading to another state again this weekend. Going to go hang out with my buddy Troy Delaney in West Virginia. See if I can redeem myself from over there mid-October. Had a nice one, about 50 yards. Couldn't get a shot with the bow, so their gun season actually opened up today. So I'm going against everything. I know this is Blue River bow hunting, but Brett's getting the gun back out.
Hey,
I'm
it's
gonna
like
have some fun.
it's like I tell my neighbor's boy, little Brantley. He's going after his first deer ever, and he's had a couple of unfortunate misses. And just told him the other night in the garage, I said, "B, you just gotta stay mad at him.
Right.
Just keep on them."
And it's funny because if I get it done, which I'm not going to hold it to that high of a standard or anything like that. But if I somehow pull it off while I'm over there, I still have a Tennessee tag too. So I could be in somewhere around Christmas time or maybe a little bit after, before their season closes, get down there and hunt with our buddy Jordan. It's just cool how those circles come about. You want to focus in on your home state. Got it done at home. We're a $1 state, like we were talking before we hit record. And some of these other states that I get to hunt are multiple buck states. Not that I need to go kill multiple bucks, but I have an opportunity to take multiple bucks while I'm there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and when you're on a hot streak, I mean, like you said, Indiana, Ohio, you kind of your neighbors, it's a $1 state. Like, why not? If you can get somewhere, Thursday, Friday night after work, you might as well roll on as long as the wife and the house is taken care of. I mean,
Absolutely. And I
yeah.
still have Missouri tag as well.
Hey, come on. We welcome everybody else, buddy. Come on.
Man, I had such a fun time. I always have a fun time over there. It's public land, but I still have a blast hunting it. When I first got there on a Saturday, and I was staying till Thursday. At first, it was kind of, say, busy. They weren't going as deep as we were, which you always think I'm going deeper than that guy, but somebody always surprises you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
When you go any deeper, and then you're like, oh shit, that guy went this as deep as I did. I better go just even further.
Yeah.
And we had a guy. Maybe you can shine some light on this. We actually talked to one of your guys' conservation officers over there, I think 2 years ago, when the e-bike first started getting kind of hot and heavy. And we had a guy there when we were there a couple weeks ago, tried to tell me that it was illegal for me to ride that bike. And I said, hey, buddy, look around this campground right now. I say a campground, a little camping area where people can pop up, whatever. And everybody had an e-bike. And he's like, I'm telling you, they're illegal. I said, if it's not over like a certain CC, you can ride it. And we actually talked to the conservation officer, and he said that they were fine. So I don't think, I'm not trying to be that guy, but I think you're wrong on this particular subject,
And that's like, you having the platform that you do, you're not going to go do anything that's like,
absolutely
jeopardize you. You're going to dot your I's, cross your T's.
Absolutely.
I've got a buddy in Illinois, and I mean, that's the most left liberal place in the entire world.
Right.
E-bikes are legal. It's not a motorized vehicle. You're not taking your 85 Chevy pickup down there, and dumping off a 2-man ladder stand. Like, people are just wild anymore. And it's like, God forbid, you take an e-bike in a mile or something like that. I mean,
what's the difference between that and you taking your boat onto a public lake? What's the difference?
Exactly. That's like, we were just talking, I can take the boat literally in any cove that I want to, dump out anything on public land, tree stand, saddle, whatever. You always got to care, and you know how that is. They're going to see Indiana license plates, and they're going to be $250 non-resident tags. Like, just go sit down.
Man, I saw a video. It was either on Facebook or TikTok. I can't remember exactly which one it was. I saw today. A guy from Kentucky. I'll throw him out there. I don't know his username or anything. he was throwing an absolute fit on social media because whatever public land he hunted or whatever was full of non-residents for their gun opener. I'm like, I just don't see how people can get mad about it. You can go hunt any other state that you want to. Some
Yeah,
states you have to get
absolutely.
points and stuff like that, but you have an equal opportunity just like everybody else. I don't understand the hate on the non-resident stuff. I just don't understand that. For me, I hunt all over. I probably hunt more out of state than I do in state sometimes, and I just don't see the hate in it. I just feel like everybody should have an equal opportunity to go chase them.
Absolutely. And that's, the town I live in. It's a big lake town. There's a really popular YouTube group that hunts it, like we talked.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, there's people from Iowa and Illinois coming to hunt this. And I'm like, more power to you guys. And I'm one of those guys, where I plumb got sick of hunting at home this year almost. I killed a great deer November 1st. And then after that, things kind of fell apart. And I'm like, I'm sitting here 2 weeks till our gun season. It would be nice to go to Illinois, or it'd be
Mm-hmm.
nice to, to have a point and, or, have a tag somewhere else. And it's
Yeah.
like, I just finally told my buddy, I was like, this is my 25th year of archery hunting or however long. And I've never been out of state. Turkey, deer, nothing. I've talked about it since I was 18 years old. And next
Yep.
year, I'm going to Kentucky September 5th or 6th, whenever it
Nice.
opens. So it might be a solo trip.
You better bring a thermocell, buddy. I've done that
Dude,
trip a bunch of times, and the mosquitoes are thick, and it's usually 95 degrees.
yeah, that's what I was just telling my wife. I was like, man, I love early season because the pattern, but like if Illinois non-res tags are still over the counter for archery, I would much rather do that. But it's hard to leave home during the rut. But I'm trying to
It
break
is.
myself out of the comfort zone of hunting what I've always known and go hunt public or go out of state. Because I'm 32 now. One day I'm gonna wake up and be 62, and I'm still gonna be hunting the same old farms that I always have, and I've killed some great deer. But
Hmm.
it's like I'm not getting the Blue River bow hunting experience of deer camp out of state with buddies, or
Yeah.
I need to be my own pioneer in my friend group to be like, hey boys, like I kind of know what we're doing. Like let's go do this all together next year.
Yeah, maybe I'll join you on the Kentucky thing. I'll come
Yeah,
film you.
dude.
I don't care. I mean, we've the group that I went with, they did it like 13 years in a row, and the last couple of years, it's been kind of like just some stuff is family stuff's been going on. One of them
Mm-hmm.
coaches football, so it's going hot and heavy at that point. It was tough for us to get there the last couple of years, but I really, really enjoyed my time down there. Like I said, it's super hot, but I wouldn't mind going down there. Maybe we can figure it out and put something together.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe meet somewhere in the middle, down south there,
Hmm.
Southern Illinois, or somewhere like that, and just kind of link up. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we can try to figure that out for sure. It's always fun to, you said the Blue River bow hunting, kind of camp experience. I
Mm-hmm.
love it, and most people, like you said, I don't want to leave home during the rut. Guess what? I did. I've done it the last 2 years. It is tough to do, but I put so much pressure on a particular property, like at the end of October, that week that I'm gone somewhere helps me. I didn't put pressure on it. Came back the first day, opening day, gun here. You shot one. You know what I mean? Like it was just like it worked out for me. I think it took a little bit of pressure off. And I love seeing new stuff. I mean, that's the funnest part. I don't know if I told this on here last week or not, but we're sitting in camp and my buddy's got a big Milwaukee light lit up. And I said, hey, mind if I turn that off? He's like, sure. We're just sitting around the campfire. I turned it off, and that was the night of the Northern Lights. And
Mm-hmm.
dude, the whole sky was like beet red with like colors going everywhere. It was pretty wild, and it was just like the coolest thing. Sitting at deer camp, having a beer after we hunted most of the day. Sitting there cooking our dinner on the Blackstone, the little Blackstone we brought, and like it was just the coolest experience. It made it more memorable for that to happen while we were there.
Absolutely. That's something like that. In 40 years, when you're walking around in a walker or getting rolled around by your grandkids in a wheelchair, you're like, boys, old Paw Paw used to be something. I was sitting there at Indiana Deer Camp and the Northern Lights hit,
Hmm.
after getting your butt kicked forever. And that's what I want to teach my kids is, I've been super fortunate. We've known each other for a couple of years, knocked down some great deer, but now I've got three boys and my wife's getting into hunting. And it's like these 4 and 5 year old deer, they're so awesome. The chase is always going to be with me,
Mm-hmm.
me beating me. But I'm trying to instill in my boys, hey, it's okay to kill that 2.5 year old deer. If your heart just gets to pumping and he's lip curling, chasing a doe,
Mm-hmm.
hammer him.
Yep.
And that's where me and my dad, you know, I grew up with that dad knocking big deer down. I'm like, okay, this is the motto. And then it's like, but how many deer did I pass that I probably should have shot until I got the rhythm? And I mean, there's not gonna be 5 big deer every single year for all us to kill. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so next year I'm really starting late season. I'm really gonna start focusing on accessing public land from the water more, and trying to last year I've always muzzleloader hunted, and my wife and my boys bought me my first muzzleloader of my very own. I got away from using a borrowed one,
Mm-hmm.
and we went out the first night of muzzleloader season, cut bean field, and my middle son, he was like, "Dad, I want you to shoot that deer." It was a year and a half old 4 pointer.
Boo!
Let him have it. And I was so pumped. He's like, "That was awesome." I'm like,
Right.
I just killed the deer like with a muzzleloader I got 3 days ago. We just sighted it in yesterday. Like, so it was, I mean, I think my buddies are like, "What are you doing?" Like, I'll go from killing, 140, 150 inch deer to my kids are like, "Hey, Dad, you gonna shoot that? But you want me to?" Pow,
Right.
done. Like,
I think that's where a lot of stuff gets so mixed up in the hunting world. You do have people that chase those big deer, and it's
mm-hmm.
big deer only. It's got to be a 150 plus, got to be a 160 plus, blah blah blah. And then you get the guys that don't give a shit, and they're
Yeah,
shooting a fork horn or a Kentucky 11 pointer, like whatever, but it makes them happy. And that's I wish my platform was a little bit bigger where I could instill that in people. Just have fun. Like you said,
yeah,
when you're 65 years old and you're going to be like, damn, I wish I wouldn't have passed that 130 that one year. Have him
mm-hmm.
up on the wall too. I can tell you the story, but his head ain't up there, like, I don't know. It's just, I wish people would have more fun with it. I wish there was less hatred on that sort of thing. I just wish people would enjoy themselves. Like you said, your boy is like, shoot it, and then you shoot it and you guys are having a blast, and it created a memory of you guys going and getting it and dragging it out and cooking it later on. It's just it created so much more of a memory than you watching it walk past you. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's, ever since here the last 3 or 4 years, we try to eat between 6 or 7 deer a year. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like November 1, I was able to kill that really nice mid high 40s 9 pointer, great deer. It worked out perfect. But also, that evening was youth season, and my
Mm-hmm.
my son had killed his first deer ever back middle October for Missouri's early doe season, and then he was able to kill like a 3.5 year old deer that was just a little crap buck, like 110 inch half rack buck, like so. It gets to be late season, and it's not like I'm just out there shooting deer to shoot deer. Like I said with the muzzleloader hunt, we're eating every single deer that we shoot, and it's like I mean, this year on, public, if I go in water access on a good spot late season, I have no problem plugging a 2 year old deer once again with a muzzleloader. Like, well, I'm not going to shoot a year and a half old by no means, because
Right.
that was like, okay, like, this is so awesome because you guys got me this muzzleloader situational deal. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, and that's what, like, you were saying that your platform is not that big, but real recognizes real. In my heart of hearts, like, I get on the YouTube and watching the hunting public and everybody else, Midwest Whitetail is so awesome because of the story behind it. But
Mm-hmm.
then, like, the next thing I'm typing in Missouri public land, I want to see that dude that's like me, works 2 jobs, has a full time family, sometimes doesn't get the chance to take PTO due to work. I want to see
Right.
that guy, dragging all his stuff a mile from the parking lot or even 200 yards from the parking lot. Like, I had to laugh. It was the fourth day of Missouri season, and I had 3 goals this year. I wanted to kill my first deer on public land. I wanted to kill a deer out of a saddle, and I wanted to get my son a buck. And that fourth day, that first Friday night of Missouri season, I called my buddy, and he's like, "Well, let's go over here." I was like, "Okay, but here's the funnel. Like, here's the pinch point where we're gonna kill." Dude, if it was 150 yards off the road, I would be surprised. Doe and a fawn came through, and we're both sitting in saddles, and I'm looking at my buddy. He's over jacking around, whatever. I start laughing, so I get my cell phone up. I'm recording him, Snapchatting him to the group chat. What the heck? Well, I see him go to full draw. I'm like, okay, he's practicing off his weak side, like, or the drop shot, right behind you. And I look up, I see a tail flick. I'm like, oh, this is for real happening. So I'm over there laughing still. I'm like, this goof troop. Well, this doe walks past the shooting lane, and I don't have a range. We've been set up in the tree for 10 minutes. I don't have anything together. I guess or shoot one arrow. I'm shooting a 700 grain arrow. I went on the full high FOC train. So I stick a single bevel broadhead right in this tree, right above her. Misjudged the yardage. I shot her for 33, and I 33, 35, and I guess she was like right at 30. So I plug another arrow, pinwheeler, and I'm just like, man, this is awesome. So there's goal 1 and 2 right there. And like you said, come the early doe season, got Jackson on one. I mean, it just, when things work out like that, it's the best thing in the world.
What made you want to transition to saddles or have it in your tool belt?
Actually, when was that? I think it was about 2019 when tethered really came out, hitting it hard and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the best man at my wedding, been a lifelong friend. We were going to actually go out of state to Nebraska for the September 1 opener. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, hey, I'm going to hunt a tree saddle. And I'm like, okay. And so we both ordered one while tether was like 8 weeks out. I was like, screw this. I got to figure out something. So I ended up ordering my mobile set that I've got now. And then always probably the next year or so, things started to kind of ramp up, shipping, getting a little quicker. I ordered a saddle because I'm the type of guy, I'm 300 pounds, but if you tell me, hey, there's a good buck right here, we're going to figure out how to get brushed in
For
on the
sure.
ground. That's why I tell everybody, it's just like a carpenter. You know, sometimes you need this, sometimes you need that tool. So I've got 3 tools in my arsenal. One's a saddle, a ground setup, and a mobile lock on it. I tell people I hunt some seriously dumb stuff. We're both bigger guys. I'm sure you've been in a
Yeah.
tree before. You're like, is this the canopy going to bend over?
Well, it's
And it's like,
crazy. Let's see. It was early October. I was filming Adam out of my saddle just above a lock on he had,
mm-hmm.
and crazy wind that night. And I'm back there like not even like trying to, but I'm swinging back and forth because the trees just going nuts.
Oh
And
yeah,
he looks up and he gets to laughing because I couldn't hardly hold on to like my bridge because it just kept swinging me
yeah,
from side to side. Finally, I just wrapped my legs around the tree because I was like, I'm not going to get car sick up here,
yeah. And like going back to that, in 2020, my brother and I really teamed up and started filming hunts, and that's where a saddle became. Throw
Yeah.
up your platform and everything. It makes a great cameraman stand. He's hid behind the tree, or like you said, if you need to go hunt any type of goofy tree, 6-8 inches around, you can totally do it because there's been in some places that I absolutely could not get my lock on, and I know that for a fact. And there's places that I wouldn't dare sit a saddle. It's like I tell everybody about the 25th, 26th October, when those all day sits or the rut grind kind of kicks in, I don't even look at that saddle.
Yeah.
Just I'm going after the comfortability of being able to sit down. I'm comfortable. I can close my eyes and work around my stand platform. It's just I can I can shoot around the tree in either one. So it just comes back to a comfortability thing. But like when you asked, about the saddle, just not some, like I said, 5 pounds isn't going to matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's the versatility. And, if you want to hang 8 feet off the ground or you want to go to 15, 16, you just, you don't feel like you have to be in a tree with a saddle.
For sure. And I've climbed trees where the branches were so big, I used the branches as step I
Absolutely.
already had 4 sticks up or 3 sticks, whatever I was running that particular day. And I started climbing branches and going even higher. I love it,
Yeah.
man. I mean, you kind of sometimes on those, you got to undo your lineman's belt and go back up above the branch. But if I'm standing on one, it's not like I'm going to fall.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was funny. I ran a trophy line uh, for years with the saddle, and I always said, I'm just going to use this one kind of until I kind of find what I want in one. And I ended up buying this past off season the tethered Ultra Lock with like the shoulder straps.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, it's got like big wraparound pockets. That thing is, I mean, I can fit not only like my cam buckles for my sticks and all that stuff in one side, and then the other side I got my lineman's belt and my tether, and it's got pockets everywhere. I got my rangefinder in one side, hooks in one. I mean, I got stuff everywhere, and I feel like I'm still light when it comes to going someplace. I mean, when you get because I have the newer XOP. I can't remember what it's called. The platform that I got.
Mm-hmm.
It's only like 2 pounds or whatever it is, and then I got the X2 XOP sticks. So like my backpack's really not that bad. But then I put my camera and my camera arm and stuff in there. That's when you start really adding up. So I mean, my camera is like 5 pounds or something. So that my
Yeah,
camera is heavier than everything else in there.
that's what this year I upgraded to a trophy line hyperlight stick, and I got my tethered XL platform on one side of my pack and my sticks on the other, and it's like it's so crazy how quick it is because, like you said, the weight really adds up when it's packing on all the camera gear. And I'm a pockety guy. Like if it's got a pocket, like I probably have it full of crap that I don't need. But
Same.
be able to shove your camera arm in one and just like I run a small Kuiu pack, and it's like to keep everything in that small profile is everything. So like early season, when you're already sweating your ass off, like
Yeah.
it's just so much better just to go light, like, or not so much light, but like compact.
Yeah,
Like
for
even
sure.
even on my XOP setup, like the stand fits within my shoulders, which I mean isn't saying a whole lot. I'm a broad shouldered guy, but like the packability of everything is awesome to me. I mean, you're not just flailing around like you said with all the straps and stuff. Being being organized and going in clean is everything.
I'm like you though. They always make fun of me when we go on these trips because I'm the guy that brings everything. And I probably overdo it sometimes. Like even when we went to Missouri, I had 2 sets of sticks, my saddle stuff, I had my mobile lock on with me, I had my bike, I had my going down the interstate. These people were, I mean, a few people probably figured it out because there was the deer cart strapped back there with my e-bike. But it's like, what is that guy going to do? I
But
got shit everywhere.
you know, let me ask you this: what happens if your buddy has a malfunction on his setup, or God forbid something gets stolen?
Yeah, for sure.
I run two mobile lock-on setups and a full saddle setup. And my neighbor buddy, kind of like you and Adam, we've kind of developed that good friendship hunting buddy. And he was running a saddle setup. I was like, "Here, dude, take this one." He's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, I'll use it here in a couple weeks. I'm tagged out." And like, I'll be that guy with dragging all the crap with because I mean, how many times do you get in a pinch and you're like, I really want to leave this set here? I mean, you always have to have a mobile setup, in my opinion. I mean,
For sure.
two is one is none, in my opinion.
And my buddy that went to Missouri with me, I talked him into getting an e-bike before he left, and he just got a cheaper one, like off TikTok Shop or something. And he runs a climber. Well, on that summit, it creates like a little V or like a U on the where he's holding it. So when he sat on that e-bike, that U of that tree stand sat directly on that seat of that e-bike. And he's
Oh
like, dude, I
crap!
don't even feel this thing back here. I'm like, it's a good thing you don't, because them summits, they're too bulky for me. I had a bad experience with one a few years ago, and I haven't ever went back to a climber. But for guys that aren't as heavy as I am, they're probably perfect.
Well, in my opinion, I think when Pike County, Illinois faded out, so did climbers. They seem like they've been so outdated for so long. It's like,
But there's still a ton of people running them.
oh, absolutely, it just cracks me up. Like, how are you kill? I mean, granted, everybody's got their own thing.
Oh, for sure.
How are you killing deer out of a tree that looks like a telephone pole? I have no idea. I mean, I
uh,
guess
it's just one of those things, like I try to think about it like sometimes, like when I'm at work, actually kind of happened to me today. I hear people talking, like in the booth next to us, where the carpenters have their shop at, and I can hear them talking about deer hunting on the other side of the wall. And you're just like, I probably thinking to yourself, I probably wouldn't do that. But it's like, that's their experience. Maybe they don't have as many years in. Maybe that's the way they like to do it. That's
And here,
go ahead, bud.
oh, sorry. And
No,
here
you're fine.
I just contradicted myself because the way I was growing up, taught you hunt the right spot, not the right tree. Here I was talking about hunting basically a sapling if it's in if it's in the right location, and then here I'm making fun of the guy that's hunting the telephone pole. It's like, but the thing about it is, a climber does me no good. I'm scared of heights, terrified.
No.
20 feet, 22 feet in a tree stand. I'm like, better have a lifeline connected from top to ground. Like I was a kid, my dad tried to get me on the roof, and I'm like getting sick over it. I'm like, just get me on the ground. And people are like, how do you hang this set? Like one handed hanging off the tree, talking,
Right.
I'm just like, I just like to hunt, I guess.
I can't remember who said it to me recently, but really before I got my saddle, when we would hang lock-ons and stuff back in the day, I never used a lineman's belt. I'd always
Oh
have my
man.
legs wrapped around the tree, putting it on there and stuff. Now it's like I can't do it unless I have that, because
Yeah.
I put that line, I can just let go, and I'm not even going anywhere.
That's
And we used to do that, and it was just the stupidest thing ever. You
remember like
definitely hurt yourself.
the old 20-foot stick ladders where you could wrap your leg in behind it and hold yourself. And now, I mean, I'm a firefighter, first responder in my free time. And it's like that first responder in me is like, dude, are you going to be the one call out here, the stranded hunter that fell off this
Right.
thing? Like, I get any more than 2 sticks high, it's like, yep, lineman's belt. Like that buck that I killed on November 1st this year, it was almost funny because I think I was somewhere between 6 and 8 feet off the ground. Like if I jumped, I mean, I can't jump very high, but I can still touch the bottom of the platform. I got up to the top, and I was like, I'm in here an hour before daylight. I did this hanging hunt, so I came in early. I'm just going to tether in just in case I fall out of this thing because it would be pretty embarrassing to fall and like your feet touch the ground, basically.
Well, let's hear the story on this big nine and what you went through and the hanging hunt and all that.
Oh, dude, it's an ordeal. So Halloween morning was on a Friday this last year. Between having a baby in April, I owned my own mowing business, and then we took a Colorado vacation. I burned up 3 weeks of PTO. So I'm sitting at work and I haul fuel for a living. And, you know, typical deal trail camera dings, open up the app. There he is. My number one hit list at 8:30 in the morning, just cruising about 25 yards from where I initially was at the next morning. So he goes through, and I'm like, oh my gosh, man, I'm pumped. The Red Moons. No, Red Moon was maybe before that. I think it was just that
It
that
was
week
around
before.
that time, yeah.
Yeah, because that evening, the first, I think it was the 24th, 25th. I had a picture of him, so I'm like juiced up. I'm like, dude, I got him 300 yards apart in both these food plots. Like it's game on. So I'm pumped. I wake up first thing in the morning. I've got an hour drive to the farm from where I live at now. So I'm juiced up. Like I said, I got my coffee ready. I'm rolling. Set my coffee mug on the toolbox. I'm in the garage getting all my miscellaneous stuff together. Like I said, because at this point I'm trying to prioritize my wife and kids to the fullest so I can go grind. My wife's behind me, like the kids are behind me. Let's roll. So pull out of the driveway, and I'm like, I hear something hit my back window. I'm
Oh,
like, what? I was like, what is this? Stop in the middle of the street. Like it's like 4:15 in the morning. The freaking coffee cups on the back of the tailgate, smacked my back glass. I'm like, this was just freaking great. So I'm driving to the next town over. We don't have any fast food places or nothing. We got a couple of restaurants and a gas station. So I stop at the next town at McDonald's. I'm like, well, I'll just get a biscuit and I'll roll out there. So I get my biscuit and I'm rolling out there and everything's going good. I'm like, man, I'm gonna kill the day. Like this, I'm one of them guys. You get me within 20, 30 yards, those limbs get bent back. Like you're dead. You're taking a ride in the back of the truck. So I'm juiced. I know this is happening. I'm already thinking. I'm like, okay, this is the tree I'm gonna get in. So get out to the farm, and my uncle lives on the property. Well, it is a crystal clear, calm morning. I'm going right behind the barn, 200 yards from the stand. Like I said, I don't know why. My dad does it. I do it. we hide our keys in a specific scenario in case anything, God forbid, anything happens. We always know where each other's keys are. Bro, set the alarm off on my truck.
Oh shit.
This is 5:15, 5:20 in the morning, and like I said, one of those clear sky, just beautiful, like high pressure mornings.
Heard it from 3 miles away.
Dude, bad. And I'm expecting to turn around and seeing like an AR with a tactical light like pointed at me or something. This is right next to the house.
Oh man.
Not only like screw the deer down there in the ag fields, like I'm worried about like turning around and he'd be like, "What are you doing?" Because like I said, it 2 hours before light at this point, and I'm fumbling around, freaking out, can't trying to think straight, and I get my alarm shut off. Like, okay, we're good. And then I'm one of them people. I pack all my layers onto my stand, because I'm a big old boy. I'll be sweating it up.
Same.
So for whatever reason, I'm just like, I'm a nervous wreck, I guess. I put on way too many clothes. So I get down to the base of the stand. I'm sweating. I'm stripping off clothes. I'm like, this is stupid. The tree that I wanted to get in, I was like, that's 45, 50 yards from the camera where I just got his picture coming out of this little draw. Like, what are you doing? So I'm down there walking up and down the food plot, and I'm like, what tree? So I finally find the tree. And if it's not growing up in multiflora rose and every other thorn bush in the entire world, like, so going back to always mobile hunting, I carry a little handsaw and just a pair of garden pruners in my backpack.
Yep.
Bro, spent 30 minutes trimming vines, thorns, everything. I'm sweating so bad. And, it's just like, this is stupid. This is terrible. I hate this.
You're dripping sweat.
Literally, like I said, it was like a 32-degree morning. Like my base layers, it's like you're steaming vegetables. I was like, I'm going to get so cold here in a little bit. Like, this is horrible. So finally, like I said, I'm 2 sticks high, maybe 6, 8 feet off the ground. And it's getting daylight. And I'm, like I said, I think it was like maybe 20 minutes before daylight. I text Dad. I said, he's dead. I'm killing him today. He's like, all right, buddy, get it. And look over across the field and see a doe. I'm like, okay, this is cool. Didn't get skunked. Like, back to killing time. So the way I set this stand up, I was anticipating, being so low, I couldn't get any higher in this particular set and be where I needed to be. So I was in the right tree for the shot, but just didn't have that great a cover. So I'm about 6 to 8 feet off the ground. And if the deer would have been kind of, I guess, if I was facing 12 o'clock, the deer would have been at like a 7 or 8 o'clock to me. And I really like, if I can, I really like shooting my bow just sitting down. I don't know if it's just bigger guy, less movement, whatever. Just one of those gimme shots. So it gets to be probably about 7:45, 8 o'clock, and I hear what I think is a buck grunt. And I'm like sitting here, I'm like, Lord, if that's a buck grunt, like, please just make it blatantly clear. Do like light it up like Las Vegas. Don't let me misinterpret. I said, at this point, I went to McDonald's. It might be my gut rumbling. I'm not real sure. So I hear that again. I'm like, oh, here we go. There's like a 6-acre draw behind me where I'm anticipating these deer to come out. So just any half-wit, like, inclination that I had, I was like, well, I don't really call it deer, but what if the distance between me and him is a couple tending grunts? So, of course, I'm digging around my backpack because I'm not prepared. Here I am. I'm just like bare minimum rangefinder binoculars. I'm in kill mode. So I'm digging around my backpack. I forgot that I had my rattle antlers strapped onto it, so they're clanging. So I get my grunt call out and just kind of give him a couple just little repeat grunts like he did. It was about 5 minutes later. I catch something, and I don't know what I was doing, jacking around, probably texting or something, getting out of kill mode, because at this time it's 8:30, quarter till 9, and it's getting. I'm like, man, he ain't coming today. But you kind of lost all confidence, like a moron, knowing better. I look over, Brett, he's parallel with me.
Oh man.
I'm like, oh no, I already missed the 20-yard opportunity, and he's walking at an angle away from me at like 45 yards. I'm clicking in with the rangefinder. I'm like, it's now or never. I'm one of those guys, even with a 700 grain arrow setup. I mean, I shoot 55, 60 yards for fun. I'm like, okay, dude, you got this. Like, just hammering. So I do the normal brat, brat, can't stop him. I say, hey, just held my 45 pin about mid body, and I didn't realize he was quartering away as much as he was. It kind of went in to his gut and then out liver lung. I'd
Mm.
seen he took off super hard, tail tuck, looked like you just hit him with 30-06. He's just going and going and going. And I was like, gosh dang, like this is all right. Like he's gonna go over 100, 150 yards, pile up or bed up, then die. Well, I didn't realize that there was a flock of turkeys about 100 yards up the draw there. So he ran right into them. I thought I heard him crash, and when those turkeys he must have stopped. When those turkeys blew up, I could see him in the binoculars up there about 200 yards running, and he ended up going about 450 yards
Dang.
altogether. Yeah. So that was my middle son Jackson. He had some prior obligations that morning, so that's what allotted me to hunt. Is this was the opening morning of Missouri's youth season. So I get on the phone with Dad. I'm like, hey, I shot a really good deer. It's not the big 8 that came in, but it's a really heavy 9-pointer. And I said, I'm going to head back to the house because the whole plan was Dad was going to come to town. I was going to try to hunt until noon or all day. Dad was going to come to town, pick up him, and they were going to go hunt together that evening. So I come home and I'm laying on the floor playing with the baby. I'm just like, man, this deer is dead in the door now. I'll go back in, 3:30, 4 o'clock. He's going to be laying right there. It's going to be perfect. So I track him about 200 yards, and it's pin drop, needle, blood, typical. Um, so it gets to be about 4 o'clock. I'm like, okay, let's just mark last blood. Clearly he's not here. Those turkeys flushed out, ran him off. Not a problem. So came back the next morning and had 3 guys helping us grid search, and we walked right to him. Thankfully, that he was laid up. Like I said, he just got that extra adrenaline dump.
Yep.
But what got me is there was about 4 inches of arrow. The back half of the fletchings actually that was plugged up on the exit hole.
Dude, this sounds exactly like my Missouri shot, like
Yeah,
almost to a T.
everybody's like, my dad and my uncle were like, well, what's the arrow look like? I'm like, I can't find it. I can't find blood. He probably ran 50 yards before I found the first drop of blood. And that's one thing that, I can't stress enough to people, and same as you and everybody else that's an experienced bow hunter, is that is so crucial to just shut the noise down for just a little bit and watch where they go. Because if I wouldn't have watched exactly where he went, I would have never found blood, I don't think.
That's kind of
It
how
was just,
mine was too. Mine, honestly, almost identical. Mine was a hard quartering away shot. I wouldn't say hard. It was enough to. I think I'm in the same ballpark as you. Entered in at the gut, entered at the gut, but I exited somewhere good. I think, but I think mine was just a touch high. I think I hit
mhm.
kind of like no man's land and a little bit of the other stuff at the same time.
Yeah. And
Hardly
that's,
any blood really until he got going. I don't know, 80 yards ish down this ridge, and then I started finding blood.
and that's what I'm sure people are going to come for me. They're like, you shouldn't shoot that heavy an arrow that far. And I mean, that arrow is not set up for beyond 40 yards. I like my deer top pin range and in. I mean, when he's at 12 yards quartered to me, I want to drive it right through both front shoulders. That's why I
Yeah,
built that arrow.
I'll
And
say with an arrow like that, you're smashing him. If that,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah. If it's a 3.5 or older whitetail, like I'm shooting a Cape Buffalo arrow, and that's, I mean, like I said, I like that up in your face. Like you pull the limbs back, and you can see the snot and drool run
Yeah,
off his nose after after you snort wheeze at him. It's
yeah,
like,
I love
but,
that.
but
Uh, was there anything you learned this year in particular that maybe you hadn't in years past? Any mistakes or anything like that?
yeah, there's quite a few mistakes. To be real honest with you, I gained the confidence to hunt 2 sticks high and push that envelope a little bit. But the biggest mistake I would say, is to to be more familiar with your overlooked spots. It doesn't matter if it's 200 yards off the road. It doesn't matter if you're on a 500-acre piece and it's three-quarters of a mile. Because two of the biggest deer that I was able to hunt this year were bedded within a stone's throw of the road in little draws that I didn't, but they're sanctuaries.
Mm-hmm.
It's places, that we've always had somewhere better. We were always hunting the bedding areas. We were always hunting the other food plots. And we had two new quarter-acre food plots that were established this year. And we got some really good ag lime on them this year, and they were growing good. And it's like I was beating myself up. Dad's like, you know what? Like, the patterns changed. It wasn't that we never had a reason to go in there before. And we're
Mm-hmm.
still using those as sanctuaries. But had I known the terrain features and kind of, done a little bit better off-season scouting in the places I wasn't really familiar with, I think that deer probably could have been killed 5 or 10 days earlier.
I think a lot of people honestly make that same mistake of overlooking some of those places. My buddy Birch, that they all them guys that I went with to Kentucky for years, he killed almost a 170, I think it like 167, 168 in Kentucky, 30 yards off the road.
Mm-hmm.
He got lost actually and circled back. He's like, "This looks good. This is the only sign I've found." That it was in November, and he was like, "I'm just gonna set up here. This is the only sign I'm seeing." He said he watched a little red Miata drive down the road, and then like 20 minutes later, he shot a giant right off the road.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
like
crazy.
last year I set up on public, and I think in Missouri you have to be 70, 75 yards off the road. I mean, I was probably 80. I was set up in the bottom, and I was like, I could almost see like facial features of people driving by. I was like, this is the craziest thing, but it's a perfect little bottom
For
funnel that,
sure.
I mean, just funnels deer right up out of a little river bottom, and it's just, you know, on my public land or on my private land stuff. I mean, there's several places you don't hardly have to get off the road, but it just you always feel so goofy. But if the sign is right and your gut's telling you to be there, don't think twice. That's the other lesson to be learned this year is have a little more faith in yourself.
Hmm. Yeah, this one property that I hunt here at the house, um, I always got fixated on a intersection of there's a creek, a fence row, and just like a natural bedding area. And once November hit, or close to November, end of October, early November, I would get fixated on sitting at that intersection because there was trails everywhere.
Hmm.
The sign looked good. I even did a mock scrape last year. A giant, I mean, an absolute giant, 170 plus, was hitting it almost daily. And I was like, why not hunt here? Because that's where it's going to happen. But what I wasn't putting into consideration was when I went in there, I was blowing the whole damn place out because I done
Hmm.
walked through everything to get to that one particular spot. So this year I didn't want to do it. I thought about going in there early November when I was coming back from my trip in Missouri, and I thought I'm going to give this one other particular spot that I'd hunted in October one more chance because that e-bike, I could zip down through there and be in this particular spot without hardly interrupting anything. Nobody even knew I was there, basically. Pretty easy access in and out without disturbing a whole bunch. And it was just like an intersection between bedding, ag, and another bed. And it started the tree that I was in early October. I had a ton of cover. Well, when all them leaves fell off, as when I was gone, when I came back, I was like, holy shit, I'm like really exposed in this tree
Yeah.
right now, but I killed out of it. Like, it's just, you never know. And two, it's like you roll the dice sometimes and you win, you roll the dice and sometimes you lose.
Well, and that's what, going back to talking, like you said, stick out like a sore thumb. It was funny because the piece of permission ground that we obtain, uh, the best way to access it is through private or through public. So, and I mean, if you guys are hearing this and you're from North Central Missouri and you saw me and my brother carry out a tripod stand 2 hours after dark, open night of gun or the night before gun season, I'm sorry. My brother and I, of course, I had to work late that night, and I told him, I said, meet me here at 7:30. He did. We rolled in with headlamps and a crowbar, and we went and picked up a tripod stand, spun, of course, the stand's been in the ground for 3 years, so that earth anchor, it's all the way to the ground, and I'm like, this is stupid. Like, let's
Like
just leave it.
concrete.
Yeah. So we're spinning on that crowbar, and of course, my brother and I love him to death. But you get us together, and we're just about nothing shy of rolling around on the ground fist fighting. So we're carrying this tripod stand out, and we're like, we just have to pick it up and get it out of there. So we didn't take tools or anything to break it down. We carry it. We're yelling at each other, trying to be quiet because we don't want to completely just blow up everybody's hunt for the next morning.
Right.
So we get it out there, and then the giant 8-pointer I was talking about, he's probably about low 160s 8-pointer, just an absolute mega giant. Uh, I knew that this tripod stand needed to be in this certain location. So I just told him, I said, this is going to be crazy, but we just have to. So we set that tripod up, get it all secured down, and then just kind of set it up between two thorny locust trees. And Jake's like, dude, this is not going to work. I'm like, you shut your mouth. Like, I've killed way more deer out of dumb setups than you have ever seen in your life. Like, they're not going to look at you, I promise. So I tell him, I'm like, you just have to believe in me. Like, I have steered you wrong on a lot of choices, being
Not
an
this
older
one.
brother. Yeah, not this one. I say, you need to be in that stand. So he's Snapchatting my buddy and stuff like that. He's like, man, Steven put me in a crap spot. I stick out like a sore thumb. Da da da. He sees some does and stuff. And then here, what was it? Well, exactly a week ago, or a week after that, it was this last Friday, the 21st, it would have been. Like I said, I was telling you, my wife and I were at our son's cardiologist appointment. All went well. The holes in his heart cleared up. Everything's good.
That's
Well, of
good,
course,
man.
in the hospital, didn't get service. So I don't know what's going on with anything. So I get a text from Jake. It's about 5:30. We get done with that. We're getting ready to pull in to eat supper. And he said, I shot a good 8-pointer. And I'm like, okay. And then he was like, I'm out of the tripod. And I was like, oh no. So I finally get a hold of Dad a couple hours later, and he's like, yeah, he doesn't have a brown tine on the left side. And immediately, dude, love my brother to death. He's one of my best friends, but it's like deer depression set in.
Oh,
Right,
man.
right then, like my season was over. I was like, I've been chasing. I shot that deer on Halloween night in 2023, and I screwed up bad this year. I put that deer above my family in a lot of situations, and just God really humbled me. So, of course, I was like going crazy. I'm like, no, this can't be like, you know. And I was like, wait, I had that deer pinned down to a 15-acre area. I set the stand there where it needed to be, and you made fun of me saying the stand was in the wide open. I said, I told you, I said, that deer is going to die in this field right there. I almost pointed out the location. And I was about 25 yards off on which trail it would take through this old
You
field.
you did everything besides pull the trigger.
Yeah, yep. And it goes back to, I already killed a great deer. Like, why shouldn't I have been the happiest for him? And now, it's led into other things. I'm gonna go have fun on some public with our late muzzleloader season, and it's just gonna be awesome. Like, but it's like, I'll always have that one up on him, like, yeah, big brother called your shot. Like, you owe me for the rest of your life. Because like, that's everybody's dream deer, a great big framey 60s 8-pointer. It's just like,
Yeah, that's a monster 8-pointer.
dude, that's what me and my dad, we literally got in an argument. He's like, you think it's that big? I'm like, I know it is. I said, you ever stared at 300 trail camera pictures and videos of a deer? Like, it's a 6-inch basis. Jake's like, oh, he's a lot bigger than I thought he was. I'm like, yeah.
The biggest 8-pointer I've ever seen was my buddy Ryan. We pulled him one out, and I think he actually had it officially scored at 153, but it just carried so much mass from the bases
Oh,
all the
absolutely.
way out. And he called me. It was actually opening weekend of gun here in Indiana. Like, I can't remember, 3 or 4 years ago. And we had like hurricane force winds that Sunday, like 65-mile-an-hour winds. And I woke up and I was like, nope, not for me. Not, I should have known. I sleep in one day, and I had been filming him quite a bit. I'm sitting on the couch watching, the pregame stuff to football. And he calls me. He's like, dude, I just shot a monster. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I slept in, I said, I'll be there, come help you. He shot it on the levee of the river. We get walking down that levee and I see it laying there in the cut corn. I'm like, oh my God, like that thing is enormous. I thought it would go 160 plus. But just a big, heavy 8-pointer. I'm a sucker for 8-pointers, too. Big,
That's the
tall,
way I
tight.
am. Like I said, it's I put that deer above a lot of things. I mean, even almost work. Like I was really pushing the line on using every ounce of PTO I had, and it's like that's I told my wife I did not deserve to shoot that deer. Like I said, I killed a great buck, and I was jonesing trying to kill that bigger deer with a rifle or take it into late archery season. It's like God really humbled me. So if I can tell anybody or even give you a reminder, you know how that dad guilt starts to creep in.
Oh, for sure.
And I sat there, I gun hunted twice in the last full week of rifle season, and I'm like, I don't need to be here. Like this is if I shot this deer right now, it would not be rewarding. So I spent like that deer was killed Friday. I spent Saturday and Sunday at home. I'm like, I'm gonna build my brownie points back up. I'm gonna hang out with the
Yeah.
kids. There's you know 50 degrees. There's gonna be cold weather coming, and I'm gonna take 3 or 4 weeks off, kind of watch cameras, do the public land scouting thing, and really recharge and grind after because that's it. Just like I said, I'm fully content with it now. Like if I would have done things a little different and practiced what I preach, probably would have had that deer in the back of the truck with a rifle, maybe. But
I think in my opinion, here in Indiana, I don't know exactly how it would be, compared to there. This time of the year, you do get a couple does that come back in, almost kind of get like a secondary rut action going on. But then once that kind of fades out into early December, feel like you can pattern them just like you did in September,
yeah, absolutely. And that's
especially on ag.
I was thinking back earlier, and there's a couple people I really enjoy watching on TikTok and stuff like that, and some real killers out there. And they were talking about the last bred doe or the last of does to come in to Thanksgiving, and I got to thinking about it. Almost every one of the true big deer that I've killed have probably been after November 15th, and it's like when those great big deer, they get zombified, the 15th through the 20th of November. And it's like, like that buck the other night, he was a 6.5-year-old deer. He laid in the rain for 24 hours. Jake shot that deer at 3:30. What does that deer have business doing an hour and a half before dark? It's like
Right.
other than just the pure, I mean, just wet and cold and wanting to get up and go search those. But yeah, that's it's a true testament. You get those really cold, frigid evenings and stuff like that, and the temperature gets down, 15, 20 degrees at night. It's either get up and feed or die, I feel like. So
For
I'm
sure.
really, really trying to focus in this year on hunting the late season and maybe go find a little bit of sign and then just okay, hey, like the high this day is going to be 20 degrees, like north wind, like this is the day to strike.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like everybody's got their early season stuff dialed in, but like where I really struggle is finding the late season food sources, the natural food sources, the
Mhm.
browse. Like where I come from, we plant 7 or 8 acres of food plots scattered out between two farms, in quarter acre, half acre pieces. It's like you go drop me out on public land where it's all natural browse. That's where I really, really struggle on my woodsmanship and stuff. So like, I'm really trying to put that to the test this year. And if Brett, if I kill a 2.5-year-old deer with a muzzleloader or a late archery tag, I'll be so tickled pink.
Oh, yeah, for
Just
sure.
because I'm getting out of my comfort zone for sure. I've talked all this crap to my buddies about how you need to grind to get after it. And then I got a little dose of my own reality. My buddy's like, "Well, you got other deer to hunt," and I'm like, "No, not really. I'm gonna really go try the private or the public grind this year. I'm gonna get out of my comfort zone because if I'm gonna go to Kentucky or Illinois, Kansas, nobody's planting food plots for me. Like,
Well, that stuff just, I mean, it does around here. Don't get me wrong. There is places where a food plot will do great, but our
Mm-hmm.
ag is so big, it's almost like throwing, a brassica in the middle,
Yeah,
a half
that's
acre
the
brassica patch in the middle of a 1,000-acre cornfield. Like,
that's like
what's it really doing?
I've got a couple buddies here north of town here that they hunt a lot of open ag, little brushy draws, and they're looking
Mhm.
at 120-acre block of timber. They're like, "How do you hunt that?" I'm like, "I don't. I just do. How do you hunt this? How do you
Right.
access it without blowing deer as soon as you shut the truck door?
And
Like,
I go
give me
ahead,
a
bud.
little bottom, with some terrain features and stuff like that. I'll kill deer all day. Like, but that I used to always be like, well, how could you not kill a deer in ag country? Like, well,
Right.
how do you actually kill deer in ag country? It's like,
Well, I'm kind of the same way. I struggle on the same thing because that's what I'm used to hunting is
mm-hmm.
ag country. When you throw me into a 3,000-acre timber spot in Missouri, it took me a couple years to figure it out, and I wouldn't even necessarily say that I figured it out. It was like, there was 3 or 4 of us or whatever that went, like, "Wow, we're seeing deer here, we're seeing deer here, blah, blah, blah," and, looking at it on the map and trying to put it all together. I thought I finally put it together for myself, had it on video, thought I finally put the puzzle piece together, but no, it didn't fit. It fell apart.
Dude, that's
That sucks.
the one thing I've learned about hunting public is it's like you can sit on your couch and e-scout, but there's
You need
45,000
boots on the
other
ground.
yeah, there's 45 other thousand people that are going to see that one terrain feature that you've found. You need to go find the one that is not visible from 30,000 feet. That's
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. That's what's humbled me a lot, quite a bit. Is it's like, man, this looks like an awesome saddle, and then I get in there and there's like, trail cameras and permanent tree stands. It's like, gosh, dang it! Like,
Well, it's
just
funny because the place I wanted where I ended up shooting that deer, I wanted to sit. I went in there, started looking around. I'm like, there is a ton of sign in here. I found a few scrapes, nothing like over the top. But I'm like, this funnel, this ridge goes back into some bedding that I mean, it's thicker than shit. And then you got another ridge. There's like 3 or 4 ridges that come up to this spot, and I'm like, that's where I want to sit. So that's where I shot that deer. But after I hung a set there, so I could just get on the e-bike and book it back to the truck and just leave it there. I was going to try to hunt it for several days, and the buddy that went with me, that's his first out of state hunt. Doesn't understand how to read topo maps that great, so I'm trying to teach him and stuff like that. And the one spot that I had picked out that I wanted to look at, boots on the ground, and check out for him, we get there and there's freaking scrapes everywhere. I bet you I counted 10 of them. And a pine tree, huge pine tree was just absolutely just shredded. And I'm like, you want to switch spots, buddy? This place is incredible. He hardly saw any deer there for the first couple
wow.
days, and I was like dumbfounded because I was like, for one, I didn't think anybody would hike that far, or it was every bit of almost 2.5 miles from camp. But we were on those bikes, so it wasn't really that bad. It took us 15, 20 minutes to ride it. It wasn't even that bad, but I didn't think anybody would go back there. And that night after I shot that deer, we had like a meeting spot where we put our bikes and locked them together and locked them to a tree where nobody could get them off. And first thing, as soon as we get there and high five, I turn around, there's 2 guys standing there with
Oh
headlamps. I'm like,
man.
you got to be fucking kidding me. Are you
See,
serious? This guy's came this far back?
and that's like that. You're out of state and you're wanting to grind. I mean, you got to think about all the other psychopaths that are doing the same thing that we would. Like, we're going to make this hike back there. We're going to pack our sandwiches and sit daylight to dark. I mean, that spot might have been burnt out for the first 7 days of the
Yeah,
season.
never
It's
know,
like
man.
that's and that's one thing I've learned this year also is if you're in a good funnel, I don't really think that you can overpressure that stand during the rut. As many different deer is cruising back and forth. But like you said, that spot, I mean, how do you know that it's
You
unless you
just
hunt
have to
it?
put time in and figure
Yeah,
it out, really.
it's like it almost makes you sick because you're like, okay, we're here for 4 days or 5 or 6, and you sit there and it's like it's either all nocturnal or not, and then you're scrounging around the drawing board. And it's like you just don't know, and
Yeah,
that's the worst thing about the out of state hunting. I think that scares me so bad from fully committing is, but I can do the same stuff at home.
for
I
sure.
I mean, like I said,
We happened to catch a monster cold front. It went
yeah,
from the first day I was there, it was almost 60 degrees until the second day when the high was
I think
I
it
think
was
it was
what 40s or
if
something.
that.
Yeah,
I know
you
that
text
one
me.
morning was like 13 degrees. I was like,
Yeah,
gross.
I know that day you text me. You were like, "Hey, we're headed your all's way." I'm like, dude, you're gonna hit this perfect. I thought you came in like the day before that
Yep.
we're coming in the day before. I was like, you couldn't have picked that out any better.
Right. And most people get caught up in and I don't blame them. That the last week of October, the first week in November, and I found myself struggling anywhere that I went first week in November.
Yep,
Lockdown, just not seeing a ton of deer. So I always started doing the second week because I could go somewhere, and then when I came back home, it was gun opener. So I got to bow hunt all week and then come home and gun hunt. And it was just I saw more deer in the second week than I did the first, and that's why I started doing that.
that's kind of what I've seen myself. Like I've got one farm that seems like it heats up the end of October, and then the other farms like the week after. But then like when you get into lockdown, it's like okay, should I take off? Is this when I should take off? And it comes down to I feel like I just gotta basically nut up or shut up. Just go do it. Just commit to it and say absolutely nothing. I don't care if a 200-inch deer shows up. Hopefully Jake, my brother, kills him again. Like and just go because
The one
like you
thing
said,
that I didn't get to do this year that I have done every year for I don't know the last 10 years plus is an all day sit. I never got
really,
an all day sit in this year. I don't
so
know
that's
why. It just never worked out that way.
yeah. That's I always have big plans, and it's like I'll sit in that one rut funnel from daylight to dark as many days as I can. And it's like fortunately, I think I put in 5 or 6, like from October 28th to whatever, no, it's before the 28th, but I put in like 4 or 5 really good hard rut hunts, I guess, for the
Hmm.
end of October. And yeah, if it was the later it creeped into our gun season, the more all day sits were going to happen. And man, sometimes I just want to beat my head off a tree, but it's like,
Right.
as soon as I climb down, I'm going to look up and he's going to be tucking tail slipping out the back door. It's just how it happens.
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
you
one
hate to.
uh that deer right there behind me, 2023, I shot that deer at 11 o'clock, and I hate to admit it, but I was on my phone.
Yeah,
Looked up, and he was at 70 yards going through the bedding, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's a good buck." Snort wheezed. He looked back, did it again. All I seen was his ass going through into that bedding. I'm like, "Well, he's gone." He circled downwind and came right back to me, and I shot him. Actually, I
and
shot that deer at 47 yards. That's the longest shot I've ever even taken on a whitetail.
that's the same way with mine, about that 47 this year. And that's, the 10-2 movement, I feel like it's so over quantified and just beat to death.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't see a whole lot of deer 10-2, but one thing I really started doing this year is analyzing historical data and really logging those trail camera photos. And it was amazing, like after the 7th or 8th, 9th, 10th of November, how many deer showed up between 10-2.
Hmm.
And I'm like, where are these deer at when I'm sitting in this stand location? Usually I'll bang out an all day sit and don't see them till 4:45 that evening, the last half hour. And
Right.
it's always nice to hear that 10-2, but it's like, yeah, whatever. Then it's like this does happen. Am I on my phone? Am I missing them go through the saddle? But
Yeah, it happens, man, for sure. But
yeah.
it's been a pleasure having you back on, man. I think we need to do this more often for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. Hopefully everybody doesn't mind me rambling on. I
No, I
keep
think
I keep saying like every time I get on a podcast, I was like, man, I'm going to tell something life changing. Like anymore, like people can go live or listen to 1,500 hours worth of podcasts, and sometimes it's fun just to tell BS stories and sprinkle in a little bit of stuff, like
absolutely. That's
because
kind of how this episode transformed into was kind of a BS session. And
yeah,
sometimes that is, you know, a breath of fresh air compared to me hammering you with questions on what kind of setups you got and what you're doing with this wind and
Right.
stuff like that. You're
Because
just
that's
hearing two dudes talk about deer hunting.
yeah. Because like I was telling you earlier, like I've got 4 core buddies, and we'll come gather in the garage. My wife and come outside and make fun of us because we're out there just geeking out. It's
Yeah,
midnight the night before gun season, and I'm just like, we're just geeking out, and I feel like I'm the most strategic out of all of us. They're like, well, why do you do this? I'm like, well, I put stealth strips here because like if this stand makes one single crack or pop, it's like I feel like that with all my friends. Like they're like, well, what should I do here? I'm like, you just go in and grind. But then it's like we're already sharing the same mindset, so it's nice just to BS and just
for sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I really appreciate you having me on. It's always good to talk to you.
For sure. Hopefully you get to hammer a late season buck or a muzzleloader buck on public or something like that, and we have you back on and tell the story.
Oh, dude, you're gonna hear me. You're gonna hear me hooping and hollering if I can drop the hammer on a public land buck. That is, like I said, whether it's 110 or 170. That's I've always wanted to. So it took me 32 years to kill a deer on public. Finally, and my dad's like, "You really haven't killed a deer on public?" I'm like, "No." Like I just, because of course, Dad, back 30 years ago, he was always like, there's more deer on public than there is private. And so he's been through that. And I just told him, I said, I'm going to dedicate the first part of early season. I'm going to go smack a doe. And I did. So the buck's next.
That's awesome. I,
So,
I kind of have a similar goal for this upcoming turkey season. I want to smack a big old gobbler on public land. I think it'd
dude,
be
me
awesome.
too. That's what I want to, I just want to locate one off the boat, cruise up in a cove, and
That'd be cool.
just dump him. That boat hunting is something else. It's so awesome,
Man, maybe I have to come to Missouri and film you
dude.
doing
Do
some
it,
turkey hunting. That'd be fun as hell.
dude. We just bought this big old house in April. Like we got plenty of room.
Man,
So
don't tempt me with a
come,
good time.
hey, we'll have my version of Adam come over, my
There you go.
neighbor. So he's a hoot.
That's
So
awesome. Well, buddy, appreciate you coming on. Thanks everybody for listening. If you're in podcast land or if you're watching us on the YouTube, help us out. Hit us with that like and subscribe and all that. But we'll be back here again next week for episode 135.